It's time for a cup of coffee with Will and Chris at Slumberland Furniture. From Slumberland Furniture in Osage Beach, here are your hosts, William Holtz and Chris Schneider.
Howdy ho, Ranger Joe. It's time for a cup of coffee right here from Slumberland at the lake. I'm Wild Will.
I'm Uncle Chris.
And Chris, this week we're going to tie a bow on Ocean City. You know I can't get enough offshore racing and your hometown team, MCon. Thrilling finish in the Super Cat class. We'll run you through that. Plus, in a brand new segment, we're going to bring you the LOZ Rumor Mill.
Oh, yeah.
Brought to you by our good friends with the LOZ app. We had heartbreaking tragedy at the Loop over the weekend, man. Some crazy UTV accidents, all on Friday. We'll recap that heartbreaking story. Plus, Oasis Amusement Park and Parking Garage making some big progress. They've got tracks on site there for the roller coaster. Looks like they've got the Ferris wheel base being started. Plus, they do some demolition, some blasting for the new parking garage. Osage Beach Mayor Michael Harmison on hand, sharing videos and photos. Plus, Osage Beach has their new city administrator set to start in July. We'll tell you about that. Plus, listen, Lake TV's got some great stuff right now. Nothing bigger than the LOZ featured doc series debuting this Friday night. We'll get you ready for that. But first, time for another sale right here at Slumberland at the lake. The 4th of July blowout starts right now.
Hey everybody, Daryl Cunningham with Slumberland Furniture at the Lake. It's hard to believe 4th of July is almost here. We're going to celebrate with a big blowout sale. We have a mattress with an adjustable base, queen size, for $4.99. We also have a comfy sofa chase for just $5.98, and then we have a reclining sofa for $6.78. We've got discounts for every room in the house, and we're even offering 0% interest financing. Don't forget, we deliver the entire lake area. Come see us at Slumberland Furniture, where we're bringing happy home.
So the 4th of July blowout underway as of Wednesday, the 12th of June. That's going to go all the way through middle of July. So take advantage of up to 60% off. And of course, they deliver to the whole lake area. So you're going to want to come and see them. Now, as we head into our local headlines this week, we're launching a brand new segment each week here in Cup of Coffee. It is the LOZ Rumor Mill, where we take headlines, things we've seen on lake area happenings, things we've heard through the grapevine, and we just discuss them for a little bit. This segment brought to you by the LOZ app. The app Ken Lawler and team have launched here the last year, and it's where Lake TV is absolutely free, easy to watch from the palm of your hand with a designated tab right there on the LOZ app. And so for our first weekly rendition of the LOZ app, LOZ Rumor Mill, start with Jones Chop House. Did you see the Facebook post?
I did see that they're going away, right? And they haven't even been there for that long.
Right.
A couple years ago, they moved from Montreal, started up the Chop House. Great place, good food, and they're going away already? That's kind of surprising.
That's what it looks like, according to the Facebook post I saw, whether it was Monday night or Tuesday, and you had sent it to me as well. It looks like they're officially closing, and I believe that's also where JB's Gin Joint is, correct?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So we don't know a whole lot there, but it looks like they're closing effective immediately, and so that's what the Facebook post indicated. Now, second up on the LOZ app, LOZ Rumor Mill. Now, it's not 100% confirmed, still waiting for details, but it looks like Bear Bottom Resort has officially closed, and new owners. I saw a congratulations post on Facebook where it looked like people were congratulating the Sutcliffe family and welcoming the new owners. So just part of the rumor mill, but looks like Bear Bottoms Resort officially new owners coming in. So pretty exciting for Matt and Melissa Sutcliffe and family.
Yeah, and that's been on the market for about a year or so, something like that. If it has been sold, it'll be really interesting to see what the new owners are going to do with that. If they're going to kind of keep it what it is, or if they're just going to completely renovate it.
Yeah, I mean, that place, of course, you've got the rentals, you've got the resort, you've got the restaurant, and they've got the fireworks there. I always know it's real close to my house every Saturday at 9:45, like clockwork. Sounds like a war going on.
Right, yeah.
You know, but they've also got the longest water slides in the state of Missouri, something that the Sutcliffe family was really proud to roll out when they put those in. And so if this sells one of the more iconic lakefront water restaurants, bars, grills, for families and visitors alike, and so we'll keep you posted on that. So that is the second headline in our LOZ Rumor Mill this weekend. The third we're super familiar with Jonathan Hartenstein, broker associate, Lake Ozark Real Estate. You remember he had a show with KRMS News Talk.
Yeah.
It was very, very popular here locally. JR, grassroots, very conservative, and very into politics, not just locally, but nationally. Well, we all know what happened at KRMS and the things that JR has been through, but he announced they're officially launching an online streaming radio station, the Damn Radio Station, which will be more for local news, politics, things of that nature, and he's bringing in the big guns. I heard he's got Kevin Burns, Stacey Shore, Gail Griswold, Matt Burns, all kinds of people bringing in local shows, talk shows. JR will be heavily involved, of course, and so something new, the Damn Radio Station. We'll talk with JR and find out more, but brand new, and you got to think, man, JR, 2024 radio, guy's lost his mind making moves.
Yeah, I'm really fascinated by this. If he's got all those people lined up and ready to do shows, then I think it's going to do fairly well. I think it's an internet radio station, right? So you can't pick it up on your radio dial, I don't think, but you can pick it up, listen to it. And I think he's going to have an app that you can download on your phone so you can listen to the station that way too. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that. But I think this is a good time to do something like that. It's an election year.
Sure.
Crazy things are just about ready to start happening, you would think. And for him to start up that station, I think is probably going to do pretty well.
Yeah, and on top of that, if you're tuning in or you go to damradio.com, and JR told me he purchased like either 40,000 or 4,000 songs that are playing, so you'll get great music, and I was impressed with the quality of sound. I mean, it was very, very clear. So check that out, and we'll keep you posted on that, because we look forward to an opportunity to work with them should that come to fruition with all the local news and the talk shows. I mean, something we'll be excited to promote, to push, and to get behind.
Yeah.
So we'll keep you posted on that. So that is the first week of LOZ Apps, LOZ Rumor Mill, right here on Cup of Coffee from Slumberland at the Lake. And if you're watching online or you're watching on social media, feel free to drop down in the comments, shoot us a message and say, hey, rumor has it this, or this is what I hear, you should touch on this. We're always looking for juicy gossip or headlines to discuss here in the show. So as we move ahead to our actual local headlines, heartbreaking weekend in regards to UTV side-by-sides here at Lake of the Ozarks. 3 different accidents Friday here, including the big one, which included a loss of life out at the Loop.
Yeah, June 7th, Friday, all 3 of these accidents. So Jacob and Shauna Dye, ages 36 and 37, from Albany, Missouri, driving a 2023 Polaris RZR at the Loop, right, where there's a whole lot of off-roading and stuff going on there. They have an accident. They were climbing a hill, it lost traction and rolled, and it threw both of them out of the UTV. Apparently, Jacob Dye sustained moderate injuries. Shauna Dye, she was killed. This killed her. Her body was taken to Kidwell Garber Funeral Home. Jacob was taken to the hospital. An 18-year-old from Dumas, Texas was hospitalized on Friday in an incident, UTV at Missouri State Highway Patrol reporting that one. According to the Highway Patrol, Daniel Mason was driving a Polaris Ranger on trails on private property in Camden County. Her leg was outside of the vehicle. The patrol says she tried to make a turn when the injury occurred, and it was a serious injury. That just kind of makes you cringe when you think about that.
And that's the second incident, separate from the first one that happened out at the Loop down 135 in Morgan County. Of course, that's a growing in popularity off-road park where you go, you sign a waiver, you pay your minimal fee, and then it's just acres and acres.
Yeah, and you've been out there.
Yeah,
I mean,
we've been out there
Kyle?
shooting video, and our thought was, man, this is really a cool opportunity, but potential for a lot of dangerous things. I mean, anytime you get in those kind of vehicles, those risks exist. And so just heartbreaking as we tie a bow on the first of the 3 stories.
And the third one was that 12-year-old boy from St. Elizabeth who was involved. And they don't give us his name because he's a minor, injured while driving a UTV on Kemna Bridge Road. So 3 in one day, crazy.
And on that first one, just heartbreaking, 36-year-old Jacob Dye, injured in the accident and loses his wife Shauna Dye. Our thoughts, our prayers out to the Dye family, all of the friends and family, and I understand that Jacob Dye, very involved in the local dirt racing community. He is a racer, and so I know that impacts so many people. And so again, our thoughts, our prayers out to the Dye family, everyone at the Loop, everybody part of that community that's impacted by this tragic accident. You know, we lift up and offer our thoughts, our prayers. So sad deal. And like you said, there was 2 others also on Friday. The 18-year-old it was on private land in Camden County. You're reading the details there, like you said, the leg was hanging out, going to maneuver a turn, and it was a serious injury. So your imagination takes you a lot of places, right? And so then, of course, the third instance, the 12-year-old boy, another serious injury on that one, overcorrected, hits an embankment, ejected from the ATV. That instance, life flown to University Hospital with serious injuries. So just a reminder, as much fun as we love to have, very dangerous, and to always use caution and practice extra safety when it comes to these. But you notice, Chris, these side-by-sides, these ATVs are only growing in popularity. Yeah. I know people down here at the lake don't even take them out into the woods or off-roading. They literally have them to take from their garage up to the end of their cul-de-sac to check the mail. Everybody seems to want a golf cart, a utility vehicle, a side-by-side, and they're growing in popularity. More people are making them, more people are selling them, and so they're not something that are going anywhere anytime soon. And so these sad, tragic stories and stories of injury, a reminder for us to use the extra caution, be mindful, because these things are dangerous.
Yeah, you know, and when I was young, way back in the old days, three-wheelers were really popular. You know, they'd just come out, you know, the one big wheel in the front, 2 in the back, and people didn't know how dangerous those could be, and they started rolling over, tipping over, people started getting hurt and killed. So then they come out with the 4 wheels, right? And that was safer, but you still have to be really, really careful. And I don't, you know, you see a lot of those people climbing hills straight up, you know, and then they get to the top and they can't make it and they fall back down. To me, that just seems crazy.
Right.
But it kind of sounds what happened in that first incident we talked about there. So be careful on those. And if you're driving just a regular car or something, be careful too, because they're out running around on the roads.
Sure. Absolutely. All right. So moving ahead, we've been heavily involved as far as covering the Nichols Apartments, the same developer as the Oasis amusement park in the Marriott Conference Center, the hotel, parking garage, and the indoor water park development coming. And big progress being made at the Oasis amusement park, according to Lake Expo, 3 different articles last week. It looked like Thursday shipping containers begin to arrive with parts of roller coaster tracks, and it looked like parts of beams that are going to be used for the Ferris wheel. And so they were on site as 147 shipping containers will be coming in, unloaded, and they've got to leave quickly. This according to Lake Expo's article. And Osage Beach Mayor Michael Harmison was on site Thursday. He took videos and photos that he was kind enough to share with Lake Expo. And he actually apparently got to detonate the demolition blast for the parking garage. This parking garage, the 6-level, 800-spot parking garage, set to have 2 levels below ground, 4 above ground, and this all part of the waterfront amusement park Oasis at Lakeport that is slated to open 2025. But how about it? Mayor Michael Harmison on site, he got to detonate the blast, and I kind of expected the blast to be a little more exciting, maybe a little more epic, and it was kind of a letdown.
Yeah, to me too. I had to go back and watch the video twice just to see the explosion. It's a little poof in the background there, you know. But good for these people. I mean, and I think this is a smart move from the mayor and whoever's doing the whole project, because if you start, you know, putting things like the roller coaster and the Ferris wheel together, people can see that from the road and they're going, oh my gosh, it's starting to come together now. That's really cool. I think this is a good PR move for them. That explosion from the mayor was a little iffy, but I saw the other one where I don't know what they must bury the explosives, then they blow it up and it just kind of loosens all the dirt or something so they can go scoop it up or something. Those are pretty cool. But pretty neat stuff what they got going on over there. They've moved a lot of dirt out of there. and rock, I'm sure.
And the retaining wall, the rock wall, continues to grow. I got video off the bridge there as I was driving over on my way to the show this week. And you can see just how much different, even from the road, it looks as that wall continues to make its way up. And as you look at those photos and those videos, it actually looks like, in one of the photos to me, that the two bases that will kind of be the anchors for the Ferris wheel look like they're starting those bases already there, which is going to be a sight to behold as you drive by and you start talking about a Ferris wheel, how massive. We have no idea until you start seeing that thing get built and put together and sitting there that high above the ground, just how big this Ferris wheel is going to have to be.
Yeah, and I think the headline from Lake Expo said something like, get ready for the skyline of Osage Beach to change, and that is dead on brilliant. I mean, as soon as they get that stuff up, that is going to become the iconic skyline of Osage Beach. It's not going to be really anything else. It's going to be, the lake in front of it and that in the background, probably with a bridge in there. That is going to become the iconic shot of Osage Beach in the Lake of the Ozarks, probably for many years to come.
Sure. So we'll keep you posted on that. And as we talk about Osage Beach, you'll remember Gina Woods, the longtime city administrator, had announced earlier this year her plans to resign. She's going to be pursuing her CPA business in the private sector. So congratulations to her. And that means the city of Osage Beach has been looking for their new city administrator. Well, they didn't have to search too far or too long. Just down the roadway to the city of Camdenton, where they're going to be nabbing the soon-to-be former Camdenton City Administrator, Jeff Hooker. On Thursday, in a closed session, Michael Harmison, mayor, of course, appointed Hooker to fill the vacancy being created, as I alluded to, by Gina Woods. Now, in the regular board meeting, Thursday, June 6th, there was very little discussion in regards to Jeff Hooker being the new city administrator, and the board voted unanimously to approve Mayor Harmison's appointment. And so City Administrator Jeff Hooker, who's with Camdenton currently, set to be their former city administrator. He's set to begin his new job with the city of Osage Beach on July 15th. And so we know Matt Markavy began his role as the new PR and marketing position with the city of Osage Beach. We're getting press releases, we're seeing him. And now under Mayor Michael Harmison, another appointment, another hiree looks like Jeff Hooker, the new city administrator.
Yeah, interesting. And I've never met Jeff Hooker. Didn't know who was the city administrator over at Camdenton. Apparently he's been doing a good job. Usually the people who are doing the best job, you don't hear about. It's when they're doing something wrong that you hear about it. So he's probably done a great job in Camdenton. Obviously, Osage Beach wanted him. I think Mayor Harmison and the board, when Gina decided to leave, they knew who they wanted, because there wasn't like a big job search or anything like that. It was just it's done, and
so I gotta
here
ask,
we go.
Along those lines, when you say, the ones that are doing the best job, you very rarely hear of or know their name. I did want to allude to one of your favorites. We hear a lot about Mayor Michael Harmison. So is that true for him?
I don't know. I think Mayor Harmison's been doing a great job. I mean, when he ran for the office the last time around, what was that, 4 years ago? Or 2 years ago, something like that.
It seems like 4 years ago.
He ran on, make Osage Beach better again or something like that. And I think he's done that. I mean, it's been rough and rocky a few times, still rough and rocky a little bit with that Nichols development. Do we know what's going on with that? Is that back on track? I haven't really heard anything, so I don't know. But things are happening. Things are moving there.
I just wanted to ask, because we talk about him a lot, and you're pro Mayor Michael Harmison. You say, hey, the ones that are doing the best job, you don't know their name and you never hear about him. And I'm like, so what if you always hear their name and you're always talking about them? What does that mean? I just had to ask.
But it's not like, who was the old mayor of Lake Ozark that got himself in so much trouble?
Jerry Morawski?
Yeah, Jerry Morawski. It's not like that kind of trouble.
No.
Not at all. It's trouble of trying to develop the city, and is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Are we developing with the right developers and stuff like that?
Great question, Chris.
Yeah, so that.
Great question.
But yeah, I think they're doing a good job.
Very, very good. You are consistent in that, and I absolutely love that. I'll keep my opinion out of it, how I feel about
Oh,
those
you've
individuals.
never done that in your life.
I think we could probably draw some kind of conclusion. But as we move ahead for the things that I probably care about as much as anything in the wide world of sports anymore is offshore racing.
Yeah.
And we told you all about Shootout Offshore here at Lake of the Ozarks last weekend. Just amazing weekend. Well, the APBA and Race World Offshore, they had their 4th national championship event over the weekend in Ocean City, Maryland. Now, there were no Class 1 races, no super stock races, but still a lot of exciting things happening, and all eyes here locally for Lake of the Ozarks offshore racing fans. Our eyes are all on IMCON, right? The local team, Class 1, first place currently, 2 checkered flags at Shootout Offshore, and then, of course, the Super Cat boat. What a lot of people don't understand is we've all heard IMCON's name. We know Tyler Miller, we know Myrick Coyle, and most of us know Johnny Tomlinson. But in the Super Cat class, which has been one of, if not the most popular classes to date in offshore racing, this boat, the 2022 Skater 388, owned by Tyler Miller, typically throttled by Tyler Miller, driven by Myrick Coyle. Remember, Tyler Miller had back surgery following the marathon races. He was out of Cocoa Beach. He returned to Lake Ozark, or Lake of the Ozarks, in the Class 1, but not the Super Cat. So people were wondering, okay, now in Ocean City, 2 checkered flags in Class 1, does he return to the Super Cat class? Well, he didn't. Johnny Tomlinson was back in the throttle for Super Cat. This boat has won 3 consecutive national championships and 2 consecutive world championships in the Super Cat class. They were in first place coming into the weekend, and it looked like Dirty Money with Bill Pyburn and Britt Lilly. Now, they took the checkered flag for Super Cat at Shootout Offshore, and then afterwards they got penalized and they did not get the checkered flag. That race is currently being protested, and Dirty Money feels like they're actually going to win that protest. So that's why you should be familiar with Dirty Money. That's the team that looked like they won Super Cat. They passed Graydell and CJ Grant Racing, which is Billy Moore and Chris Grant, and IMCON on the 3rd lap of the 13-lap, 52-mile course out there on the Atlantic Ocean in Maryland. Looked like they were on their way to a checkered flag. They had a comfortable between 6 and 10-second lead nearly the entire race, and then the last turn of the last lap, the escape hatch on Dirty Money's boat flew open, forcing them to slow down to get that thing shut, and in that split little bit of time, it allowed for Johnny T and Myrick Coyle to make their move. The final turn of the final lap, making their move, and they end up winning the race on their way to their 3rd checkered flag in 4 races, that Super Cat boat, and they did so by 10.2 seconds over Dirty Money, who took 2nd, and Graydell CJ Grant Racing took 3rd, and WHM Motorsports, who have, prior to IMCON's dominance in Super Cat, that team had won 4 national championships since 2012. And so this is IMCON's class. And when you look at offshore racing, a lot of times these races are pretty much determined halfway through unless somebody's boat goes down or something crazy happens. Well, something crazy did indeed happen, and it allowed for probably the most thrilling finish I've seen. It was cool because Spencer and Andrew and I were all texting, watching the races. We were in different places, and we're like, this is crazy. And so the excitement, and you see here video of the IMCON team on the beach, what that meant for them. I talked with Tyler Miller following the race, and he goes, that's why you have the best of the best in the industry on your team. And he's talking about his normal driver, Myrick Coyle, and Johnny Tomlinson, who's filling for him on the sticks. And that was not a move that, just because that hatch flew open, not every team is in position to make that pass and win the checkered flag. So I got to tell you, when you're rooting for somebody and you're watching the live broadcast from states away and you see something like that, it's like the Bills won the Super Bowl. You know, I was running around the house. I was freaking out. I was chest bumping my wife. You know, it was the coolest thing ever. But that puts IMCON into a demanding first place. They were already in first. This race was double points in Ocean City, so it was equivalent of winning 2 checkered flags. They get 212 points, and they have a massive lead over the rest of their respective field in Super Cat. So now a little bit of downtime for the offshore world before we get ready for Sheboygan, Michigan, which will be the 3rd stop on the P1 UIM Class 1 World Championship Series. And Lake TV and crew are actually going to be headed down to Sheboygan to cover those races.
When is that? That's in August?
August 9th through the 11th.
Nice.
So, yeah, we'll be headed down to cover those races. But just super exciting when you look at the way that race finished. And for Britt Lilly, who a lot of people in the offshore world are familiar with. That's his home waters. So a lot of people felt for him. You know, they ran a great race in that boat. It looked really good. So for him and Bill Pyburn, a little bit of frustration, but I know they'll be back. Second place, nothing to be embarrassed about or upset with. 7 boats started, 4 finished, as 3 ran into issues. And as you look at the races as a whole in Ocean City, do you see the crazy boat crash that took place on Saturday?
That was pretty scary, really. I mean, wow.
Yeah, that was Gladiator and Granados in the 450R class on the very first lap. They got a little too much of the outer wake, and their boat caught a little bit of wind, went up, and then flipped. And what was wild is you see these images here. Glenn Lean with X Insurance Sports shot this, and then of course Parker Lindsay with the X Insurance Helicam footage, providing all of these images for us through this story. You see one of those Mercury Racing 450 engines flew off and it sank into the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. And so a lot of people were like, well, what happens now? I mean, we know that's an expensive engine. Well, it has GPS inside or on it, and so they were able later that day to locate it, and then Towboat US and APBA Rescue Dive Team actually rescued it. They pulled it out with a crankshaft or whatever you call it. You know, they pulled it out of the bottom, and you see that 450 horsepower engine just like dangling over the water.
Wow.
Just crazy images, but really cool because luckily both driver and throttleman in that boat were unharmed and were able to walk away, but an expensive crash on the first lap nonetheless.
Unbelievable. It's amazing they can go down in the ocean and find that engine and pull it back up.
Yeah, much different than if it happens here at Lake of the Ozarks where, you know, the depth, it's hard to say, anywhere from probably 30 to 70 foot across the Lake of the Ozarks. But we're talking ocean. I mean, you're talking.
Could be at several hundred feet down, yeah.
You might be next to an exploded submersible down there in the bottom of the ocean with that engine, you know. So much different, but all in all, a really great weekend. And we are gearing up for Sheboygan, about a month and a half away. And then right after that, we'll have Shootout. Lake of the Ozarks 36th annual shootout. Gonna be incredible. And of course this year Lake TV partnering with Speedboat Magazine for the first ever pre-race show live from the Shootout on the Strip party on Wednesday the 21st of August from 4:30 to 10 p.m. Ray Lee and myself will be co-hosting live on Lake TV an entire recap of last year's shootout, storylines for this year's shootout, updating you on all standings, because even though it's a non-sanctioned race, a lot of these teams, a lot of these guys vying for national and world championships are here at the lake for the shootout, so we look forward to that. Now, as we look at what's happening on Lake TV this week on the Community Spotlight Show, we're used to Jeff Green as Camden, the Camden County counselor for the commission's office, but he actually is on the Community Spotlight Show this week in a different regard.
Yeah, he is the kind of the man in charge of the Lake of the Ozarks Stop Human Trafficking organization. Extremely important organization. So we have him on the Community Spotlight Show to talk about that. What human trafficking is, how it starts. I mean, you wouldn't believe where it starts. It starts with young kids, basically, and it's very scary. But you have to check that out. That's every day on Lake TV at 9, 3, and 9. Jeff Green, and he is a local attorney, like you said, for Camden County and everything, but this might be the most important thing that he does.
Yeah, also, happy hour with DJ Kyle, 6, noon, and 6. And listen, we got some really exciting news coming. We got an incredible series that we are officially moving forward on through happy hour and some great stuff there. You can catch happy hour DJ Kyle every day at 6 a.m., noon, and 6 p.m. and some really great stuff coming. And of course, Weekend at the Lake. For those of you coming down to the lake this weekend, you're like, what is there to do? Are there parades? There's festivals, there's concerts, there's events, boat shows. Well, you can watch our man David Leatherberry every single day on Lake TV from Thursday to Sunday as he gets you ready for all things happening right here at Lake of the Ozarks. And listen, the wait's officially over. You know, we've been pumping it, we've been promoting it, we've been talking about it, but season 3 of the LOZ featured doc series presented by Jonathan Hartenstein, broker associate Lake Ozark Real Estate, debuts Friday night. And listen, if you're watching this week's episode and it's already Friday, you can go watch it on demand, Roku, Amazon Fire, Lake TV, YouTube. You don't want to miss this year as we feature 12 incredible docs.
Greatness. Looking forward to it.
Hard to believe, out of time for this week's Cup of Coffee from Slumberland at the Lake. For Uncle Chris, I'm Wild Will. Until next week, God bless.